Hi, this is David Johnson with the No Brainer App Reviews. I want to give you a brief tutorial about how to shop for an iPad mini case. This iPad mini, this is an iPad mini case. It doesn't even matter what model it is because what I'm going to show you will help you choose an iPad mini case. This one is imperfect for a number of reasons. One of the most important aspects of an iPad mini case is the mounting mechanism. That is the part that mounts the iPad to the case. This is what I call a bezel enclosure mount, and the reason is because it holds the iPad by enclosing the bezel. Now, this is pretty much the worst kind of case in almost every situation, and it seems like a good idea, but it very seldom is. Oftentimes, the button placement is a little off with this kind of case. In this case, it turned out okay, but usually it takes a lot of effort to really shove that all the way in and then tighten it down with a little Velcro strap in the back in order to get everything lined up just so. And some things are very important. They really have to be lined up well. A little microphone hole is one example of that. It's very hard to get all of the elements lined up. You can see the camera is not really lined up very well either. So that's one of the problems. The bigger problem with this type of enclosure, though, is many applications require you to use the edge of the bezel, and you can't get to the edge of the bezel. You simply can't do it because the bezel is enclosed by the case. So even with some of Apple's own processes, like pulling down your notification center, you've got to. Right, it's a little bit difficult to get in there and pull it down. You can, and with some applications, it's downright impossible to get in there. You just have to remove the case a little bit and get it in there. So bezel enclosure mounts are about the worst thing that you can do. And it doesn't matter how good of a deal the iPad case is. It doesn't matter what company presents it. Avoid at all costs bezel enclosure mounts. Another thing that's problematic that you will find with cases is how it becomes a stand, because all cases, pretty much all cases, allow you to set up a stand. This is the back fold and tuck method. So you'll have a little piece here that you pull up and tuck. For one thing, that piece pretty much always gets loose over time, and it doesn't take that long to do it. But that's not the worst of the problem. The worst of the problem is it makes a really bad stand. So if you just set your iPad down, it falls over. And so you have to work at it a little bit, kind of work it down somewhat in order to get a solid enough stand to feel comfortable with leaving. But even so, it's a very bad stand. And so this type of stand mechanism is another thing you pretty much want to avoid. Not adding to anything beneficial is this hand strap. Now, you might think, well, hand strap is a very good thing because it gives you some options in how you're going to hold the device. And it can be helpful in theory. But theory and practice are often a long ways apart. So, for instance, when you're holding it this way, there's nothing in the back here that keeps the back flap connected to the iPad. And so holding it this way, means that you've got to constantly wrestle with keeping the iPad aligned. It almost guarantees that you need to use two hands to do it. It's better to just get a good grip on the side like this and be done with it. The hand strap really doesn't get you very far. and it can cause you to actually lose grip and control of your iPad more than just holding the thing. Now, one other thing that I would show you that seems like a good idea turns out to be not such a good idea. This particular case has holders for cards. And that's great. If you're using it for something like business cards, I suppose that's okay. But the natural impulse is to put something useful in it, like your ID or your bank card. Well, the last thing you want to do is put valuable cards in this pouch, because when you're using this iPad in public, the card holder is exposed, the cards are exposed, and it's facing the public. You're basically asking people to rob you. It's a terrible idea. And so avoid that. I'm not saying that pouches are bad in general, but make sure that they're covered. This case does have one or two good things about it, and so let me just cover that very quick. Oh, one other negative. Because of this extra lip along the side of the case, it makes it a little bit more difficult to reach in and get to your volume buttons. So that's another thing to try to avoid with the case. The one really good thing about this case is it does have a magnetic closure for the front, and it has a sleep-wake function. So if you're buying a folio case for an iPad or iPad mini, you want to make sure that it has the sleep-wake function, because you can just open it up and start working. You don't have any extra steps to go through. So this case at least has that. It also comes with a little holder for a stylus, and this particular case also came with the stylus. It's a pretty cheap stylus. It seems like a nice little freebie, but if you're serious about using a stylus, you'll want to get a better stylus. This stylus is much too thin and much too light to feel comfortable. On the plus side, it does have an ink pen on the other end, but really, if you're a stylus user, you're going to want to throw this out and get a better stylus. So these are some things to look for in choosing an iPad mini case in just about every way. Even though this case seems to be okay on the surface and it looks pretty stylish in the beginning and it's inexpensive, avoid the temptation of buying cases with features like this, because there are usability issues that just keep you from being able to use your iPad well. This is David from No Brainer App Reviews.